my gosh. It's mind-blowing. This is amazing. I mean, oh my gosh. Look how many people. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. I feel like I learned so much. What is up? Welcome back. Today I'm reacting to a video titled The World Cup Explained for Beginners. I'm an American discovering European football, discovering football for the first time. I grew up calling it soccer and I didn't grow up playing. I played American football, I played baseball, the most American sports ever. So I'm literally discovering everything about this sport. I'm also discovering everything about Europe. That's what my channel is all about. Aeronautal Reacts is all about discovering the culture, the people, the music, the history, everything about these beautiful European countries. In this video, I want to learn about European football and literally understand some basic rules. So that's what I'm doing here. I post videos every single day, so make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can see another video just like this in the future. Now let's learn about how the World Cup is explained for beginners like me. Let's go.
Cup. The World Cup is the biggest international football tournament in the world. Unlike club football, where teams like Real Madrid, Manchester United, Arsenal or Barcelona compete, the World Cup is all about countries. Instead of supporting a club, fans are watching national teams like Brazil, Argentina, England, France, and many others compete to become world.
Oh my gosh. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Argentinians, yeah, that's the right way to say it. Argentinians celebrating the World Cup win in 2022. I literally can't imagine. Like, that is, I think there was over 1 million people in the square, which is just, it's mind-blowing.
World champions. The tournament is organized by FIFA and usually takes place every 4 years. That is part of what makes it feel so special. You do not get a World Cup every season, you get one every 4 years. So every tournament
it makes it so much bigger.
Like a major global event. At its simplest, the World Cup is football's way of answering one question. Which country has the best national team in the world? Why does the World Cup matter? The World Cup matters because it is bigger than just another football tournament. For many countries, it becomes a national event. People who do not normally watch football suddenly tune in. Families, friends, cities, and entire nations follow their team together.
France. Oh, look, that's the Eiffel Tower. That is such a cool spot to watch the game. Oh my gosh.
Because when your country plays, it feels personal. It also matters because players are not representing a club team that they play for every season. They're representing where they come from. That creates a different type of pressure. A mistake can hurt an entire nation, but a great performance can make a player a national hero forever. And because the World Cup only happens every 4 years, chances are limited. A great generation of players might only get 1 or 2 real opportunities to win it. That is why every match feels important, and why winning the World Cup is seen as one of the biggest achievements in football or a player's career. Who gets to play in the World Cup? Not every country.
So this is the question that I would have.
Automatically gets to play in the World Cup. Before the tournament begins, countries have to qualify through their own region.
Okay, one thing I do know about qualifying is if you host the World Cup, you automatically qualify. So Mexico, US, Canada automatically qualified this World Cup.
Europe has its own process, South America has its own, and Africa, Asia, North America, and Oceania all have their own routes too. The host nations qualify automatically. For everyone else, it has to be earned. For new fans, the easiest way to follow the teams is to think of it in 4 categories.
Okay, so 4 categories. So why are they called pots? Oh, pot. I was going to say pot. Pot. Okay, that makes sense.
The favorites. Nations.
Wait, hold on. The favorites. Oh, from each group. Okay, so Mexico, Switzerland, Brazil, US, Germany. Wow, Germany's a huge favorite. Netherlands a big favorite. Brazil, I don't know how I skipped such a big favorite. Spain is the biggest favorite of the entire World Cup to win their group. That's interesting. England, France, Portugal, a lot of these European countries. Let's see how many European countries are favorited. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the 12. By the way, I think this is the biggest World Cup ever this year.
Nations with the squads and experience to go all the way. France, Brazil, Argentina, England, Spain, Germany, and Portugal are usually the suspects. The dark horses. They're the teams that could surprise everyone. Norway are a compelling example this year, qualifying for their first World Cup in decades with
in 28 years, I think.
Haaland leading their attack. The underdogs are nations who very few expect to go far, but who create the tournament's best stories. In 2022, Morocco reached a semi-final and Japan beat both Germany and Spain in the group stages. Nobody saw either coming. And the star players. The individuals who can change a game in one moment. Watch out for Mbappe, Harry Kane, Vinicius Jr., Messi, Ronaldo, and Lamine Yamal if he recovers from injury.
Wow, Lamine Yamal.
So when
he's injured. I didn't know he was injured.
Watching for the first time, don't just ask who is playing. ask which category they fall into. How qualification works. Qualification is basically the road to the World Cup. Because there are so many countries in world football, FIFA does not simply put every nation into the final tournament. Instead, countries compete within their own football region, also known as a confederation. There are 6 main confederations. UEFA is Europe, CONMEBOL is South America, CAF is Africa, AFC is Asia, CONCACAF is North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, and OFC is Oceania.
Oh my gosh, this is insane. Did you know all this, by the way? Am I the only one learning about this? There's no way you knew all this. Oceania Football Confederation. This is amazing. I mean, it literally takes an entire globe to organize such an event. That's why it's so special. I'm understanding it more and more. The World Cup really is such a unique and a special event.
Each region gets a certain number of World Cup places, and within
Oh, okay. So wait, hold on. Let's go back to that. How many do you get? So North America gets 3 plus 3, 2 of playoff spots. I don't know if I really understand that. Plus 1 playoff spot. So the US has 7 or 8 spots this year. South America has 7. Africa has 10. Europe has 16. Asia has 9. And then Oceania has 2. Okay.
Region gets a certain number of World Cup places, and within each region, countries play a series of matches against each other. Certain number of World Cup places, and within each region, countries play a series of matches against each other over months or even years. The top finishers earn their place at the World Cup, so qualification can look very different depending on where a country is from. For some major nations, qualifying is expected. For others, simply reaching the World Cup is a historic achievement. And for the 2026 World Cup, this matters even more because the tournament has expanded from 32 teams initially to 48 teams.
48, that's insane. 48 countries competing to win the World Cup.
Meaning more countries than ever will get the chance to play on the biggest stage in football. How the World Cup draw works. Once the teams have qualified, they are placed into the World Cup draw. The draw is where the tournament starts to take shape. It decides which team go into which groups.
That's so it all comes down to a draw, how you get through the first group, and that's really important because it ends, which side you end up on. I mean, we have tournaments too, so I understand that part of it. Wow, okay.
And who each country will face in the first stage of the competition. Teams are usually separated into different pots before the draw.
Okay. Oh, because there's 4 different, literally pots that they grab the names out of. Okay, they do that so it's not lopsided, so one side isn't. Okay, that's probably a good thing, yeah.
These pots are mainly used to stop all the strongest teams being placed together straight away. So instead of having one group full of elite teams and another group full of weaker teams, the draws try to spread them out more evenly. But even with that system, some groups can still end up much harder than others. That is where the phrase group of death comes in. It usually means a group with several strong teams, where even a good side could be knocked
Oh, that's tough.
out early. So the World Cup draw does not decide.
Hold on, these are the final draws here. No, this must be old. Because isn't the Netherlands with Japan?
Who wins the tournament, but it can make a country's path much easier or much harder. The group stage explained. The group stage is the first
This is old. Oh, it's 2022, yeah.
part of the World Cup. After the draw, teams are placed into groups of 4. Each team plays the other 3 teams in the group, giving every side 3 matches to prove themselves. The aim is to collect enough points to finish high enough in the table and reach the knockout stage. In the 2026 World Cup, the top 2 teams from each group advance automatically. On top of that, the 8 best third place finishers from across all groups also.
The 8 best third place. Okay.
So finishing third is not automatically the end, but it is a risk. This part of the tournament gives teams a little bit room for error. One bad result does not always end your World Cup, but it can also put you under serious pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
For example, if a team wins,
Argentina won the last World Cup, but in the group stage, they lost to Saudi Arabia, which is insane. They literally lost their first game, then they ended up winning the World Cup. That's why it's so amazing, this tournament style.
its first match, they're usually in a strong position. Where if a team loses the first match, their next game can suddenly feel like a must-win game. The group stage is where the tournament starts to build drama. Some favorites qualify comfortably, some big teams struggle, and sometimes smaller nations shock everyone. Points, goal differences, and tiebreakers. In the group stage, teams are ranked using points. A win gives you 3 points, a draw gives you 1 point, and the loss gives you 0 points. So if a team wins 1 match, draws 1 match, and loses 1 match, they finish with 4 points. But sometimes 2 or more teams can finish level on point. When that happens, the tournament needs tiebreakers to decide who finishes higher. The main one is usually goal difference. This means the number of goals a team has scored minus the number of goals they've conceded. So if a team scored 5 goals and concedes 2, their goal difference is +3. But if they score 2 and concede 5, their goal difference is -3. This is why every goal matters in the World Cup. A late goal in a group stage match might not just change that game, it could decide who qualifies and who goes home. The knockout stage. After the group stage, the World Cup moves into the knockout stage. This is where the tournament becomes much more brutal. In the group stage, a team can lose a match and still recover. But in the knockout stage, there are no second chances. If you win, you move on. If you lose, your World Cup is over. The knockout stage follows a clear path. The last 32 starts the process, and the last 16, then the quarterfinals, then the semi-finals, and finally, the final itself. With every round, the field gets smaller and the stakes get higher. Although not literally, the field does not literally get smaller, it just means there's less teams. There is also a third place playoff, where the 2 losing semi-finalists play one final match to decide who finishes third in the tournament. But it is the final where everything comes together. The last 2 teams left compete to become world champions in front of a global audience of billions.
Billions. Oh my gosh. Look how many people. Overall viewership, 5.4 billion people watch the World Cup. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Wow, that's actually 2022 compared to Russia, 2018, only 2.3 billion. Wow, okay. Digital and social media viewership, 2022, 1.1 billion. It's going to be the biggest ever this year. 100% it's going to be the biggest ever. Via media, like media is going to have 5 billion views. It's going to be nuts. Final match will have the highest number of views ever. Completely can guarantee that, because US alone is going to have over 100 million.
This is also where pressure becomes much higher. Teams often play more carefully because one mistake, one red card, one missed chance, or one penalty shootout can send them home. So if the group stage is about surviving, the knockout stage is about handling pressure when everything is on the line. Extra time, penalties, and the final. In the group stage, matches can end in a draw, but in the knockout stage, every match needs a winner. So if a knockout game is level after 90 minutes, it goes to extra time. Extra time, as we've explained in previous videos, is 30 more minutes of football, split into 2 halves of 15 minutes. If one team is winning after extra time, they go through. But if the match is still level after extra time, it goes to a penalty shootout. In a penalty shootout, each team takes turns sending individual players to take a shot from the penalty spot, 1-on-1 against the goalkeeper. Each side starts with 5 attempts. The team that scores the most wins. If it is still level after 5 each, it continues 1 penalty at a time until one team misses and the other team scores. This is one of the most dramatic moments in football, and it was also how the World Cup ended in 2020.
So insane. It just gives me chills thinking about the ending to the last World Cup. Penalty shootout. I mean, you literally can't draw up a better ending to such a major global event.
2022. Entire tournaments can come down to one player, one shot, and one goalkeeper guessing the right way. Eventually, the knockout stage leads to the final, the last match of the tournament, where the last 2 teams standing compete in front of a global audience of billions. The winner lifts the World Cup and becomes world champion. And that is the basic structure of the World Cup. However, if you want to take it further and get a proper grounding in football itself, I've put together the Football Explained Beginner Style.
That was insane. That was absolutely insane. I feel like I learned so much. So many of those details that I didn't know about. The 8 teams can still place 3rd place in their group and still advance. This year is the biggest World Cup ever. The viewership, I mean, oh my gosh, the viewers alone is just nuts. What do you think, though? What do you think about the World Cup this year? Who's going to win it all? What do you think about it being in Mexico, US, and Canada? Yeah, I have so many questions. I'm sure you do too. This World Cup is going to be amazing, and I'm so happy to hear that breakdown. As an American discovering football for the first time, it's really such a beautiful sport. The emotion, the chills, the fans. Oh my gosh, European fans, European ultra fans at these games. They can change the entire feeling and momentum of the game. And that's what's so beautiful about this sport. It's not just the players on the field, it's the entire stadium, even the fans at home play a role. Anyways, I'm loving discovering European football. If you want to keep going on this journey with me and discovering it with me, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'm going to keep bringing you videos every single day. And I got to give a shout out, as always, to my channel members. Thank you so much for being a channel member. It means the world that you're joining me on this journey and supporting me. My channel members always get early access to every single videos. So if you want to consider that, make sure you check out the channel membership down below. I hope you have the best evening, morning, night, midday, lunch that you've ever had today. And I hope it's really an amazing day for you. I hope to see you in the very next video. Cheers.